Good morning. This is Daf Mem Gimel. About 7 lines before it spreads. And we're talking about Chatzi Ben Chorin. Iboilu. They asked the question. Misha Chatzi Ben Chorin, Shekida Shabbos Chorin. Mahu. Somebody's a Chatzi Ben Chorin. However, we figured out that he had two masters. One of them freed him, or a person is able to free half an Ebed, according to some shittas. So what's the halacha about an Ebed? An Ebed may marry a shifra, may not marry a bas chorin. Someone who's a ben chorin can marry a bas chorin, not a shifra. So now he's half and half. So now really we said he can't marry anybody. We said that in the Mishnah that he's can't marry anybody, but because he can marry. But the question is if that's why we free. That's why we free him, because in the situation that he can't marry. But here the question is if the kedushin takes effect, means he's a chatzi ben chorin, he's half and half. And he gave kedushin. He gave him a ring. He gave a shavapruta to a bas chorin, to a regular Jewish woman. Does it take effect? Of course, he can't have relations with her because the part of the Eved is not going to be mutter to have relations with this bas. But the question is, does the kedushin take effect? Is she considered married to the ben chorin part of him? Of course, he can't have relations because he's also an Eved. But did the marriage take effect? And the Gemara is going to bring a halacha about a regular Jew and a regular woman, a man and a woman, that if he says, become ukudeshes to half of me, it's very theoretical. Why should a person do such a thing? What does he mean to say? But that's the words alone. That if a man says, marry yourself to half of me, or I want to marry half of you, what do all these things mean? So the Gemara brings down the conclusion that says that if a man says, become married to half of me, it does work. And if he says, I'm marrying half of you, it does not work. And the Gemara is going to say that our question is independent of that halacha. Imtim saloma ben Yisrael shamu labas Yisrael v'skachi lachatzi v'kudeshes. Even if you're going to say, it seems to be that it's true, that if a Jew says to a Jewess, a ben Yisrael says to a bas Yisrael, become married to half of me, eskachi lachatzi, become eskachi to half of me. So it does take effect. Still. So Rashi explains over here. It could be you can learn the Gemara here without Rashi's explanation. It could be, but we'll say Rashi's explanation that when a person says "Eskachi lechetzi," become married to half of me, he really means be married to the whole of me. All he meant to say with those words was that I want to reserve the right to marry another woman. It's not really saying that only marrying half of me. A full man could marry 2 women, 3 women, whatever he wants. So. When he says be married to half of me, it's just another way of saying that I want to be shared by another woman. I want to marry another woman. So there he's really marrying all of himself. So it's nothing to do with our question. And the Gemara says the Chazia Lakuli over there. The reason why it works is because it is potentially mutter to all of him. Without Rashi, I wouldn't have seen all this in the Gemara. I just would say Chazia Lakuli, that there's nothing holding back. That Bikaron, this potential, he could have married all of himself to her. But over here, in this case, lo chazi l'kulei, she can marry all of him because he's a chazi eved. The words of the Gemara alone don't need Rashi. It means the Gemara in kedushin. And it says over there when he says marry half of me, he really means to say, you're marrying all of me, but I'm just reserving the right to marry another woman. But you can learn the Gemara here without that. You can learn the Gemara means that here it's better than by an eved because when he's a full ben chorin, he could say marry half of me, but the other half is still open. So it's chazi, at least the fact that it's ru'ui. But by the chatzi ben chorin, that the half of Eved cannot marry, maybe it's worse. And there's another side also. Imtim saloma ben Yisrael hamkadesh chatzi isha. What if a Jewish man says to a Jewish woman, I want to marry half of you? So over there it says enam ukadeshes. You can't marry half a woman. You have to marry the whole woman. So that would be a reason over here that you'd say that also. But a man, there's no difference in a man and a woman. So the man also, you can't say that you're married to half of me. Over there it really means half. So you can't say that just like over there that you can't marry half a woman. So the woman cannot be married to half a man. So maybe over here for sure it's not good. Chatzi ben chorin, he can't marry all of himself to her because the half Eved is not chal any kedushin to the bas chorin. But still the Gemara says it's not a raya to there that it's not good either. Over there, the shayir b'kinyanu, because he left off something which he could have, means that he married half a woman and he could have married the whole woman and he didn't. So he left over something which was available. That's a chisaron. But Eved, but the Eved, when he marries the woman, he does everything he could. He's maximum a half Eved Chatzi ben Chorin. So the whole Chatzi ben Chorin married her. So it's not a right from the fact that if he had potential to do more and he didn't do more, maybe that's worse than if he did everything that he can. So therefore, the Gemara has a question: what's the halacha that marries Bas Yisrael? Does kedushin take effect on the half of him? On the Chatzi ben Chon, does it take effect? Again, we said for sure he can't have relations with her because the Chatzi ben Eved is not allowed to have relations with this Jewish woman. Now she's even Aisha Sish, maybe it's even going to make it worse if it takes effect because the part of him that's an Eved is going to be having relations with a married woman. So that's not the question if he can have relations. The question is if it takes effect, if there's kedushin or not. I explained the Gemara according to Rashi. We just mentioned the Rashi about that over there in kedushin when he says marry half of me, it could be only means to say that I reserve the right to marry another woman. Like Lavan told Yaakov, don't take another wife besides these women. He wants to take another wife, but. It could be again that the Gemara you can learn out that you can learn the Gemara that says the fact that it's potentially he could. The Gemara says both ways. Two studim. One is the fact that if he has potential availability, that makes it more kedushin. On the other hand, the other svara, the opposite svara, that if he did everything he could, that's the reason why it should be better. Even if you say half is not good, but if he can't do, he did everything he could. The most he could do is marry his half. Ben Chon could marry. So the Gemara has a question. All this sums up the question. Can Chatzi ben Chorin marry Bas Yisrael? Also included in the question, we'll see, including the question is opposite also. Can a Jew marry a Chatzi Bas Chorin? Same question. Can it take effect on a Chatzi? Tashma. So the more goes to the rice we had before, which is not the subject of Kedushin at all. And the Gemara is going to be right from there, like a left field right. Tashma, first white line. If a shore killed a Chatzi ben Chorin, so if it would be a ben Chorin, he'd have to pay kofar. If it would be Chatzi Eved, he'd have to pay shloshim shaleved. And here it's a Chatzi. So the Brisa says it's Chatzi. No, so the Chatzi kanas leRabbo, but Chatzi kofar liyoshav. So he has to pay for both halves. The half of the Eved, he has to pay the kanas to the Rabbo, which would mean 15. He pays instead of 30, he pays 15 to the master. And as far as the kofar, he pays Chatzi kofar to the Yoshim. And the Gemara comes with a left-handed raya, not a left-handed, a left field raya. From the Amud Kedusha, like Kedushin, Yorshim and how does he have Yorshim? How is it physically possible? How is it physically possible to have Yorshim if he can't marry? The Chatzi ben Chorin is not allowed to marry. So how does he have any Yorshim? And the Gemara says must be that Kedushin is Kedushin. The Gemara doesn't. It's not understandable what the Gemara says because it doesn't make it. How could he? He's not allowed to marry her anyway. If you say Kedushin is Kedushin, he's surely not allowed to marry her. And how could he physically have children if he had relations? Even if he wasn't allowed. The Gemara of the is very difficult. The Gemara is making the fact that if he could have Yorshim was only if the Kedushin is Kedushin on the half of the Ben Chorin. This nasty says to him. Could he have children? It's possible for him to have children. So physically, could he have children? Yes. If he has relations with a woman, he have children. And so are they Jewish? So if it's a Chatz, if they have them, so that's not considered as children. He doesn't have Yorshim. But if there's a Ben Chorin, if he's a Chatzi Ben Chorin, and they have relations, let's say it's also for him to have relations with this woman, because he's a Chatzi Eved. But half of them is still half of them are Jews. So what's the problem? Right? Even if he's not allowed, even if Kedushin is not Tofus, even if Kedushin doesn't take effect. Let's say we're going to come out.
Yes.
Okay, so even if you want that, so let them get the Yerusha, the Yorshim, they're going to be Yorshim on that. I didn't think about it. But, and the Gemara doesn't seem to deal with this. The Gemara says you can't have any Yorshim because Kedushin, not Kedushin. What does Kedushin being Kedushin have to do with having a Yorish if he physically has relations? And even if you say Kedushin is Kedushin, he's also not allowed to have relations. He's also because the Chatzi Eved is having relations also. So there's no question he's not allowed to have relations. That's why we're freeing him. So the Gemara is very difficult. Let's just explain. You could have Yorshim physically, and it's not. And another way is that it's not dependent if Kedushin is Kedushin. Even if Kedushin is Kedushin, also he's not allowed to have relations. That he's not allowed to have relations because the Chatzi Eved part. Tosfos says the last couple of words of Tosfos that the Gemara holds that here, if he's not going to the Sabra Shas, that if Kedushin love Kedushin, his child doesn't have yichus towards him. Even though by Tosfos as the Kasha Mamzer, even though there's no Kedushin, is not Tofus, the kid is considered a Yorish. But here it's going to be worse because since he can't have Kedushin to anybody, by Mamzer, he could yesh lo Kedushin b'shum makom. But here ain't Kedushin b'shum makom. So if there's not going to be Kedushin as Tofus, here the Gemara thinks it does depend on it being Kedushin. If it's Kedushin, So then the Yorish will be called his son. If not, it won't be called his son. The Chatzi Eved is surely not B'Shachas after him, and the Chatzi Ben Chorin, if the Kedushin is not Topus, the Gemara holds that also it's not going to be considered his son. So that's the Gemara's proof. Since it says over here that this thing is a Yorish, if a Shor gored and killed the Chatzi Eved, the Chatzi Ben Chorin, the Chatzi Kofer goes to the Yorshim, that means he has have Yorshim. It must be that the Kedushin is Kedushin, and when he had relations with this woman, with a woman, a Bas Chorin, the child is called his Yorish. So the Gemara was being approved that Kedushin is Topus. Third white line, Ravad Barava, it's not a Raya. Kishaso Treifa, my Yorshav Nafsha. I could say that he has no Yorshim. Yechasha was, how does he have Yorshim? He has no Yorshim. What's the Yorish? He himself is his own Yorish. If he died, he's not getting any money. The answer is he made him a Treifa, that he's still alive, he's still breathing, he's still walking around. But the Shor who killed him, he didn't kill him yet, he's gonna die. But he made him into a Treifa. The Shor gored the Chatzi Ben Chor when he gored him, and he's still walking around, but he's a treifa. The doctor said he's a treifa, he's going to die because as a result of this wound. Now, gosis means that he's expiring. Treifa means that he has some defect that he's not able to live because of that defect. Eventually, he's going to die, maybe within 12 months. What? And here it says he's chayv already, and he goes to Bezdin. The treifa goes to Bezdin to collect kofar because you killed me. You ever had such a thing that someone goes to Bezdin and says you killed me? I don't think it depends. Chavrusa was saying it doesn't seem that a person is going to be chayiv misa. Bezdin doesn't kill anybody because he made somebody a treifa. Only after the person dies, you're going to kill him for killing him, but not because he made him a treifa. You can't go to the man, kill the man. I want to see him dead before I die because he killed me. The harda doesn't exist because it says always that he died, that he killed somebody. But here, that the din of kofar, the Gemara thinks should be collected. The more in the Havamina at least thinks that the kofar doesn't have to do with dying, maybe. And maybe if you made him a treifa, it's enough that he should be able to collect kofar. But the Rav is going to knock it down right away. Rabbi Baba held that he could collect kofar on his own. There are two disproofs to that. I can disprove this on two counts. Your teretz to say that he has no yorshim, but he's collecting himself because he became a treifa, and he goes to Bezdin to collect kofar, half kofar. The yorshim katani. First of all, it says the word chatzi kofar yorshim. That's not the way you say it. It should have said chatzi kofar la'atzmo. It shouldn't have used the word yorshim if it means himself. Oh, kofar hu. Rish Lakish. Kofar mishtalim elachamisa. Rish Lakish says you can't collect kofar unless he dies because it's learned out from a pasuk, whatever the drush is going to be. So it's not true. You can't. The treifa cannot collect kofar. So this teretz is all. We're back to the Rai again. And what would arrive that it must be kedushin is kedushin, or else the son that he would be born of him and his wife, whatever the wife would not be considered. Would not be if he held kedushin on kedushin, it wouldn't be considered his son. Must be kedushin is kedushin. So Rava says his own teretz. Even though it says chatzi kofar yorshim, it doesn't mean actually the yorshim that can collect the chatzi kofar, because technically it doesn't have any yorshim. All I mean to say is that this person, Chatzi Ben Chorin, the shor should be chayiv half and half. He's chayiv half knas, half 30, and he's chayiv half kofar. But technically, there's nobody to collect because there's no yorshim, so nobody's going to collect. He doesn't mean to say that the person is divided into half, has split personality because he's a Chatzi Ben Chorin, and the shor is going to be chayiv half and half. But it's true that one half there's nobody to pay to, so he's not going to have to pay. So the Gemara. He's fitting to collect, but there's nobody, but he doesn't get because there's nobody to collect. If there be Yorshim, then they will collect, but there's no Yorshim, so he doesn't collect. So the Gemara had a question just to sum up what happened. It said that Chatzi Kofar should go to the Yorshim. Right, but there are no Yorshim, so nobody's going to collect it. And Rob was okay with that, so the Gemara had a question, is Kusha Tofas or not, the Gemara would a raya, but the Gemara is Matcha, the raya, there is no raya, and we don't know if the Chatzi Ben Chorin marries a woman, Bas Chorin, if it takes effect or not. Next Gemara. Now the Gemara goes the opposite. How about a Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Bas Chorin? Omer Rabba, Kishem Sham Mekadesh Chatzi Isha Eina Mukudeshes, Kach Chatzi Shivcha B'Chatzi Bas Chorin, Shnes Kasha Eina Mukudusha Kedushin. If a man marries a half a woman, we had before quoted that a man goes to a woman, Jewish man, Jewish woman, and says, I want to marry half of you, nothing happens. You can't marry half a person. So too, a Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Bas Chorin, a man, a Jewish man, marries a Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Bas Chorin. The Chatzi Shivcha party can't marry, doesn't take effect. But could the Chatzi Bas Chorin take effect? So he says, no, the same way it doesn't work here, it doesn't work over there. Really, the Gemara mentioned this before, and the Gemara said that there's a tzad to say it's not the same, because by a Chatzi, by the full Jewish woman, and he only marries half of her, so he didn't do everything he could. Shir b'kinyano, he left over things that he could have done. But here, he did the maximum. Maybe the maximum is okay. The Gemara said before by the Eved, it's the same thing by the Shifcha. And before the Gemara didn't answer it, here the Gemara seems to say that it is comparable. And the Gemara doesn't say the chiluk of shir b'kinyano, that maybe there's a difference. The fact that he did everything he could, either the chatzi of the chatzi b'nchorin did everything he could, or the man who married the chatzi shifcha, chatzi b'nchorin, he did everything he could. He can't marry the chatzi shifcha. So maybe the Gemara doesn't say. The Gemara says no. Amar Rava, just like if someone marries half a woman, it's not kedushin. So too, if someone marries a chatzi shifcha, chatzi b'nchorin, it's not kedushin because he only married half of her. He can't marry half a woman. So, and who said that? Rava. Rava Bar Huna agreed to him. Darash Rava Bar Huna. The same thing as Rava said. Just like you can't marry half a woman, you can't marry a chatzi shef chatzi baschon because only marrying half of her. And now if Chisda now comes to ask the same question that the Gemara said in the narrow lines, then maybe it's different because here you did everything you could. Amalei Chisda to Rabba Bar Huna, midami. What's the comparison to a chatzi shefcha to half a woman? Awesome, shir b'kinyan over there by the regular woman, regular Jewish woman. They only married half of her because he left over. He could have married more. He didn't marry everything that he could. Shir b'kinyan. Here he didn't leave anything over. He married everything he could. He married the whole half, and the other half is not available. Maybe it's good. And before the Gemara asked the question, the Gemara before didn't answer the question, and here the Gemara takes on this chiluk shir b'kinyan. The Gemara is very happy about shir b'kinyan, and it goes back to the Gemara before also that by a chatzi of chatzi b'nchorim, since lo shir b'kinyan. The Kenyano, he did everything he could. It is good kedushin. Rabbi Bar Huna was very impressed with Rav Chisda's stand of shir b'kinyan, lo shir b'kinyano, and how to Rabbi Bar Huna more alei. Rabbi Bar Huna, who before said the Eidim Mukadeshes, he got a loudspeaker for himself, a microphone, not a micro, a loudspeaker is a better word. And in the old days, a loudspeaker was a human loudspeaker. That the Rav would say something, but he wanted to announce it, so he got someone who has a loud voice, and he said it in public. And he said the following: the Darash. He said, it says in the pasuk, pasuk in Yeshaya, that this michshol, this stumbling block, is under your hand. Whatever the pasuk is talking about, but over there it's talking. We'll say what it's talking about. It's talking about that people wanted a leader, and they said to somebody, "You should be our leader." And he says, I'm not fit." But over there, when it says "you be our leader," it says that this michshol is under your hand. So the pasuk means that you have power to take care of the problems. You have problems, and you can take care of it. You're able. You have but the Gemara says that means divrei Torah, that you have divrei Torah, and divrei Torah is called machshela. Why is divrei Torah called machshela? Divrei Torah is a michshel. He says, that a person does not really know the Torah until he makes a mistake. Rashi says you make a mistake, and then you find out that you made a mistake, and you feel that you made a mistake. So then you'll remember it. Something to that effect. You're not going to make the mistake again. Rashi says you got embarrassed. So here, Rabbi Miller says a story. I forgot exactly the details. The Yaseh Avinu Malkeinu on Tainus Esther by Mincha. You say Avinu Malkeinu? No. You don't say Avinu Malkeinu. So Rabbi Miller was on Tainus Esther. This I'm saying a story from Rabbi Miller. He said when he was a bacher, he was made to be the gabbai, and by Mincha, he went over to open up the Aron Kodesh for Avinu Malkeinu. And the Rosh Shiva looked at him like, Mazeh. So he says he never forgot that. You don't say Avinu Malkeinu, Tainus Esther. So that he said this Gemara. You do? Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Maybe because it's right before Purim. I'm not sure. But I don't know. But anyway, he said this over this Gemara. A person who made a mistake, then he's not going to make a mistake again because he got embarrassed about it. Maybe when it comes out Tainus Esther, when it's not right before the day before, you'd gimel to Tezvav, maybe. Okay, I don't know. So he said, I made a mistake. He made a loud announcement. I made a mistake, and even though I said that if someone marries a chatzi baschon, she's not mukadeshes because it's like only half a woman. That's a mistake. Even though if someone marries half a woman, it doesn't work. But if he marries a chatzi baschon, it does work. Why? My timer, because he did everything he could. By regular woman that he marries only half. Why did he only marry half? There's more left that he didn't do. But if he did everything he could, because the other half is a shifcha, he did everything he could as a good condition. So it's interesting because before the Gemara left to start off with a question, the Gemara didn't prove it, and here the Gemara takes on that this far is right. Rav Sheshes, but Rav Sheshes again still holds of the comparison. He doesn't hold with the Shir B'Kinela the same way Rava and Rabbi Bar Huna originally. Rav Sheshes Keshem Shem Makadesh Chatzisha Eina Mukadeshes Kach Chetzi Shivcha B'Chatzi Baschorin that Chinas Kasha any kedusha kedushin. He doesn't know that it's chiluk shear or no shear. You didn't marry the whole woman. It's not a good kedushin. Even though you did everything you could, you didn't marry the whole woman. It doesn't work. But he doesn't go back to the thing of shear b'kinyano. That was the Gemara Svara only. He holds it. He doesn't hold of it. But now he has the says maybe that's a kasha on me that there's a parish of brisa that says that you could marry a chatzi shevcha chatzi baschorin. If lachshach adam lomar, somebody is going to whisper to you. That's the word lachash, to whisper. If someone's going to whisper like a kasha to you, I think that's how they translate it. There's a brisa that says beferish that you could marry a chatzi shevcha chatzi baschorin. Over there, it's talking about a shivcha charufa. We said that the parasha of shivcha charufa, he should come nefes lish v'avdei lo nefdasa chuf sholo nitala because the year lo yimsuki lochu pasha. So it's talking about some kind of a shivcha that's designated to a man. And I was going to say right now that the man is going to be an Eved Ivri. I didn't know this a couple of days ago, but the man that she's designated to is an Eved Ivri, who's mutter in the shivcha, and somebody had relations with this woman. It's not mamash and ish because she's not a free woman; she's a shivcha. But he was going to be malchus. Someone has relations with a shivcha who's designated to a man. It's a kind of ish ish, not mamash ish ish. So it's chayiv malchus. Like she's designated to him. She's a shivcha who is designated to a man. Charufa is like we don't want to call it mekudeshes, but it means some kind of a designation. So it says in the pasuk about a shivcha charufa, but there's a question what that means because over there it says v'aftei lo nefdasa. We had the question the other day when it says v'aftei lo nefdasa. Does it mean redeemed, not redeemed, or does it mean not redeemed? Right? Two ways how to learn when it says v'aftei lo nefdasa. So this first one, the Omar is. Who's there? I think Rabbi Akiva. Eved Ivri. That's the people, the man. Yeah, the one that is designated. She's designated to as an Eved Ivri because a regular Shevcha Kananis, it could have been designated to an Eved Kanani also. I'm not sure what the halacha would be over there. But when it's now this one them holds Haftei Lo Nefdasa. We said that some hold Haftei Lo Nefdasa means yes redeemed, not redeemed. That means half redeemed. Redeemed, low redeemed, Chatzi Shevcha Chatzi Baschorin. So some say that the parasha of Shevcha Harufa that says Chayiv Malchus is talking about a Chatzi Shevcha Chatzi Baschorin. Yes. No. Why should she be free? Somebody see she was a Shevcha Chatzi Baschorin because she had two masters and one of them freed her, or she had one master who freed half of her. She's a Chatzi, and now to an Eved Ivri, right? The master of an Eved Ivri is allowed to give him a Shivcha Kananis to marry. He gave him not a Shivcha Kananis, he gave him a Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Baschorin. He's not a married Jew. Yeah, the only person who's not to marry both a Shivcha and a Jewish is an Eved Ivri. He's still Jewish, 100% Jewish, but he also has permission to marry a Chatzi Shivcha. So here he learns that that's in the pasuk when it says something lo nefdasa. He's a Shivcha Charufa. Is the Shivcha Charufa? Susha Chatzi Shivcha B'Chatzi Baschorin because it says Haftei Lo Nefdasa, so it's Chatzi. So she's a half a Shivcha, half a Baschorin, and who she married to? Amuresa Eved Ivri. So this is right. I got it from here, and here it says it's an Eved Ivri, but the point of the Bryce is going to be that she's a half-hand. This Bryce holds that she's a half-hand. And she was designated to Eved Ivri, and now somebody comes and has relations with her. It's a shtickle Eishasish, not mamash Eishasish. So 5 malchus. But what do you see? It said the word Amurasa. This word, the list word Amurasa, that's what's bothering the Gemara. That she's a Chatzi Shevcha Chatzi Baschorin married. Amurasa means serious. It doesn't just mean designated. It doesn't say Nechrefes. It says Murasa. Murasa means that she's married. It means the Eved Ivri married the Chatzi Shevcha Chatzi Baschorin, and it takes effect on the. And it's called Kedushin. It's called that he was Mekadosh half of her. Half of the Baschorin, there's no, of the half of the Shivcha, there's no Kedushin. He's allowed to have relations with her, but it's not called Kedushin. There's no Mureses. But the Mureses is going to be, the Kedushin is going to be between him, this Jew, Eved Ivri, and this half Baschorin. You see, it takes effect. So that's a raya that it takes effect. How could you say it doesn't take effect? That's the kasha. Someone's going to whisper to you this kasha. You're saying, Rav B'Sheshas, that if someone marries a Chatzi Baschorin does not take effect. It says in the Brisa that the Eved Ivri marries Kedushin and Rusin, the Chatzi Baschorin. So don't you see Alma Bas is Ruseihu? You see in this Brisa that she's marriageable, that she's Erusin. It says the word Amurasa. So Rav Sheshes says, don't get excited about the kasha. You could answer you deflect the kasha very easily. And more low, klach Rabbi Shmuel. Go to Rabbi Shmuel means you have the kash klach lech lecha. I don't know. Yeah, lech. What does klach mean? I don't really know. But the gist is that go. Gozech. Yeah, I don't know. Go to Rabbi Shmuel because this machlokas. We said haftei loan of dasa. We said it's not so simple. What haftei loan of dasa means doesn't mean marry, redeemed, not redeemed. That doesn't mean not redeemed. So the first one then was Rabbi Kiva. He says it means redeemed, not redeemed, half. But Rabbi Shmuel says it means not redeemed, completely not redeemed. She's a full shivcha. What does it say? Shehu Omer b'shivcha k'tanas and Rosh Hashanah. That's what he says. He says it's talking about a complete shivcha k'tanas. She was not redeemed at all. That was designated to an evidivri. And if someone has relations with her, that's what the pasuk is talking about. And over there also it says the word hamurasa. Look at that. Here it surely doesn't make sense. There's no question. Everybody holds that evidivri is not going to have kedushin to the shivcha k'tanas. It surely doesn't work. Shivcha k'tanas basas. Who say you? Does that Bryson make sense? That he says you put a kasha because it says achatzi shivcha achatzi baschorin and it says erison. So you were convinced that the word erison is taken seriously, and you see that Eved Ivri could marry marriage. What would you call it? Erison, kedushin to the chatzi shivcha achatzi baschorin and chatzi baschorin. And here, so you were impressed. But I'll show you. Don't be impressed because this Bryce is surely using the word loosely because when it says that the Eved Ivri was ma'ares, the shivcha k'tanis, it surely doesn't make sense. It's surely not taking it accurately. There's no such thing. You can't do kedushin to a shivcha k'tanis. What do you have to say? You have to don't take it so seriously. The word mureses here just means that she's designated. Here it also, you have no proof. It can mean that it just means that she's designated. It doesn't mean there's a marriage at all. So Rav Shesha says, I still hold by what I said, that you cannot marry a chatzi shivcha chatzi baschorin. So we had different opinions. What was the whole question of the whole sugya? So far, it's one big sugya. Could you marry? Could Eved Chatzi ben Chorin? Could the half of him marry? And the other way, could somebody marry a Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Bas, the Chatzi Baschorin part? And this furthest, we don't know. Usually, you cannot marry half a person. Not the man, not the woman. It has to be a full person. And the only thought we had that maybe here it's better is because he did everything he could. A regular half a man or half a woman you can't marry. But the fact that he did everything he could because the other half was not available. It's a Eved or it's a Shivcha. So maybe that works. And they have Machokas Amaram. Some took it very strong that it makes a difference. Rav Chisda, Rabbi Avrohom was Modi, and he also made a big declaration, he made a mistake. And others, Rav Sheshes, they didn't see the chiluk, and still it's not kedushin. Kamachlokas, if there's a marriage that takes effect on the Chatzi Eved Chatzi ben Chorin or Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Baschorin. So one line up in the bottom, a new sugya, but also connected sugya, relevant sugya. I'm Rav Chisda. Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Baschorin should iskasha leruben. Very fascinating case. I don't think it happens. It's just a theoretical case that the Gemara wants to talk about the principle. There was a Chatzi Shivcha Chatzi Baschorin that was married to Reuben. Does it take effect? We had Machokas before. Rav Chisda held that it does take effect, and she's married to Reuben on behalf of the Reuben. And then Shtachra, then she got freed. What do you say at this point? The owner of the half, Shivcha, freed her. Now she's completely free. She was only married half. What do you say about that? She stayed married half. She was married half. At the time, it was maybe good because the man took everything he could. That was not available. Then it became available. Then she got free. And didn't marry. But he didn't yet. So she's half married. And now, Chazun is Kachel Shimon. So then she's half married. So she married her other half to Shimon, who's a brother of Reuben. What do you say? So everyone said she's married to two people. So she's married to two people. But what? She's half married to him, half married to him. They can't have relations because even if you say that she's married half and half, she can't have relations with the other half is in the front. But then Mesu Shneim, both of these husbands died. Now she falls to Yibum. Does she fall to Yibum, to Levi? Yes. Levi. Why not? Even on 2 counts. You might think 2 counts. But on the contrary, 2 counts is a reason not to do Yibum. If there be 2 brothers, she was first married to one brother and he died. And she married then there was Kedushin or whatever to another brother. And then he died. Does she do Yibum? So it says no. It has to be only Yibum falling from one brother, not from 2 brothers. So you might say that she's falling from 2 brothers because she's half married to Reuben, half married to Shimon. So he says, no, that's not a problem over here. Yeah, she could do Yibum to Levi, first line on the top, because Manav Shach. Whichever way you go, whatever you say, she could do Yibum. Because she's going to say now that she's definitely only married to one of them, either to Reuven, not to Shimon, either to Shimon, not to Reuven. If Kedusha, the Reuven Kedushin, Kedusha, the Shimon, not Kedushin. If she's married to Reuven, and it took effect, like Rav Chisda said, that you could marry half a woman when, at the stage when she was half a Shivcha Chatzi Bas Chorin, he was able to marry the half. So then, the Shimon is not going to take effect, even after she got freed. The Gemara doesn't explain that. If Kedusha, the Shimon Kedushin, Kedusha, the Reuven, not Kedushin. If she's married to the second one, then she's not married to the first one. That's the end of the Gemara. The Gemara doesn't explain that she's only married to one. She's not married half-half. I started saying the Gemara before, as we were learning, that it sounds like she's married half to Reuven, and then the other half became available, and it's open, it's vacant, and then Shimon took over, so she's married to both of them. The Gemara says, no, that's impossible. There's no such thing that she's married to both of them. She's only married to one. Which one? Either Reuven or Shimon. Means if the first Kedushin was Chal, so it's pashut that after she gets freed, maybe the Kedushin spreads to the half that was vacant. Does that make sense? He married a woman who was let's say it took effect on the half that she was free. And then the other half of Shifcha became freed. So there's a tzad to say that it spreads. It becomes now the Kedushin that was on half of her, and it wasn't able to push further because she's a half a Shifcha. Now that right, and it's there, it's sitting on her that she's Mukadeshes to Reuven, but it wasn't able to go to the Chatzi Shifcha. Once she gets redeemed, so then she becomes fully married to Reuven. Then if Shimon's married, so nothing happens. That's one side. The other side is to say that as long as he was a Chatzi Bas Chorin, it's possible to make Kedushin on the half. Once the half Shifcha becomes freed, so then you marry to half a woman. You can't marry to half a woman. Like we said, the only reason why he's good is only because Lo Shia. He didn't leave anything over, but here he did leave something over. In the same way that you can't marry half a woman if more is available, you can't maintain the marriage to only half a woman, so the whole thing goes off. So those are the two stuff. The whole thing goes off, then she wouldn't be married to Reuven, and Shimon married her, he married the whole woman, and she's only married to Shimon. Then Shimon died, she marries Levi. So when I said the Gemara in the beginning, I read it simply, it sounds like she's married half Reuven, Shimon. That's what the Gemara is trying to say now. That's not what happened. Either the marriage of Reuven, when she got freed, took on hold on the whole woman, and then when Shimon married her, it's nothing, but she's already married. Or when she was first married to Reuven halfway, when she got freed, half of Shifcha got freed, then the Kedushin of Reuven dissolves, and then when Shimon marries her, he married the whole woman. So either she's completely married to Reuven or completely married to Shimon. She's not been married half-half. And therefore, they surely is Yibum to Levi because she's married either to Reuven or to Shimon. I don't say that there's a problem over here of Eshesh Shnei Mesim. I don't call her, I don't label her as Eshesh Shnei Mesim. Everybody knows that Eshesh Shnei Mesim doesn't do Yibum. If she's an Eshesh Shnei Mesim, if she's married to two brothers that she wants to fall even from two brothers, it doesn't work. Only from one brother. But here it's not called a wife of two brothers, because she's either married to one or either married to the other. She's not married to both of them. Or all to Shimon. Nu Gemara, Itma. This Gemara is really the background of the previous Gemara. We just said that it's possible when she gets freed from the other half of her gets freed, the second half gets freed, either the Kedushin of Reuven spreads onto the whole woman or it dissolves. The fact that he had, that's what the Gemara is going to say now, and the Gemara before was based on this. I'm saying that Tosfos is pshat, which is easier than Rashi. Itma. Which the same case as before. So, and that's what the Gemara is going to say now. The Gemara is now going to. So far, no, Jaffa said a case. It didn't say a psak. It didn't say the psak. The earlier case was a little bit. Yeah, but over there the Gemara said that the Gemara said all that. The Gemara before said the same case, and then also it said that both of them died. Both of them died. It doesn't say both of them died. We just want to know what's the matzav right now. What happened? Is she married to Reuven, married to Shimon? So that's going to be the Gemara as explained here. A machlokes, is she married to Reuven or to Shimon? And the Gemara before was based on this. And therefore she could be the Yibum because she only married to one of them. As soon as she gets freed, the Reuven's Kedushin explodes, not dissolves. It explodes. Sometimes. Sometimes it means to explode, sometimes it means that it goes off. I don't know what the good word to say. Dissolve sounds like dissolved in water or something like that. No, Toka. Okay, the point is that it goes over. Reb Zera, Rav Nachman, the argument of Rav Nachman says, a verse of Avrohom against Reb Zera, what did Rav Nachman say? He says the name of Rav Nachman, Gomu Kedusha Rishon. Then on the contrary, the Kedusha of Reuven takes on the whole woman. Till now he's married to half of her, and now it goes on Gomu or Paku. And now, and that's what the Gemara was saying before, that whatever you say, either Paku or Gomu, she's only married to one of them, to the first or to the second. Reb Zera, Reb Zera, it's reasonable, like I'm saying, that she's all completely married to Reuven. It says in the pasuk, the reason that this woman is a that was married to an Eved Ivri, and it says that there's only Malchus and no death. It's not called someone had relations with an Eishes because she wasn't free. Pasha, you must. He's taken very literally. What if she would have been freed? Chupasha is the freedom, like Chofish. That's what Chofish means. Chofish means free. People go on Chofish, they're going on freedom. That's what the translation of the word is. You must. He wants to be medayik that if she was, he's saying that she was a chatzi baskorin, that she was married to Eved Ivri, and what if she would have been now freed? So he wants to learn the pasuk that if she would have been now freed, then the person who had relations with her would be chayiv misa because she's a complete Eishes. The Eved Ivri was married to a Jewish woman, half Jewish woman and half Shefcha Kananis, and then she was chupasha. So he says, the pasuk says that the person who has relations with her is going to be chayiv misa because she is a complete, regular, free woman, married completely to Reuven. So it's right to what I said, that after she gets the freedom, she's freed of her half Shefcha, she becomes completely married to Reuven. You must, they should be put to death. That's not a raya because again, we said that the Machlokes what the case is talking about. Some say that it's talking about a chatzi, not a chatzi shefcha. Some say it's talking about a complete shefcha. The Rabbi Shmuel says that she's a complete shefcha. And what are you going to say over there? What if she was a complete shefcha kananis married to an Eved Ivri and she got freed, her master freed her? Are you going to say that she's chayiv misa if somebody has relations with her? There's surely no marriage. There's nothing to spread. You can say along this that the half marriage is now going to spread onto the other half. But here she was only married to an Eved Kanani. She was complete Shivcha Kananis. There was no kedushin at all. So there's no question that if somebody's going to free, if the master is going to free her now, she's not going to become married. She's not an Eishes. So you must say that you don't say it the if even the diuk that says that if she would be freed, she would be chayiv misa, it only means that she gets married now. Not that the original kedushin is going to take over. The pasuk, even according to this man, that she was a chassid baskorin, it doesn't say beferish that she's chayiv misa because the kedushin takes over. It could very well mean that only if she marries again after the chofish. So it's not a raya. So the Gemara leaves it. The Gemara leaves it as a question: if Gomru or Paku, does the kedushin go off completely? Paku, or does it go on completely? And that's a machlokes, but she's only married to one of them. New Gemara, simple Gemara. Amar Avuna Baktin Amar Bitzchak. He didn't. Either he wasn't told the question, or he didn't have the answer. But the Bible proves that the kasha is not a kasha. This whole we just finished the sugya. We finished the sugya. All these kedushin questions. Was the whole today's sugya was about kedushin. Half kedushin, yes kedushin, no kedushin. The whole thing is finished. No Gemara. Back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said if someone's a chatzi ben chorin, he's in a pickle because he can't marry anybody. So therefore, Beishamai we still agree to them that you force the master to free him, and he gives a check that he owes money for, and you let him marry bas chorin. Here's a case similar, but not exactly. Amar about K'tin Amar Yitzchak. There was a story not by a man who was a chatzi ben chorin and wasn't able to marry. There was a woman who was a chatzi bas chorin, and also they forced the master to free her. Why should they force the master to free her? She doesn't have the mitzvah of approval or sheves. It sounds also sheves yitzhara. It's so important that the world should be populated. It sounds like it's not her business. By a man. It sounds like this. She's not obligated in it, even though the Torah says like kruavu. Right, that's what it sounds like. That for kruavu or for sheves, that's why we free the man who's a chatzi ben chorin. But now it says they also freed the woman who's a chatzi shel chatzi. What's the problem? Come on, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, Dam al Shnei Muomer, Vayvarach Hashem Elokim, Vayom Adam Pru Uvu Mulu Asaretz. Happens to be a machlokas if a woman is chayv and Pru Uvu, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says yes, because Hashem said to both of them, of Adam and Chava, Pru Uvu in plural, that Hashem spoke to the woman also. She's also chayv and Pru Uvu. So you want to say that this case they pass like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, that the woman's chayv and Pru Uvu. Allah said, wouldn't have freed her. It's not a right. It could be that you don't. She's not even provable. The reason why they freed her was only because over there technically that she was being Mazana, because she had no man, she had no husband, not a Eved, not a Ben Yisrael. So she was Hefker, and therefore they had the problem to get rid of this nuisance. So they got her free in order to be able to marry a regular Jew, and then her husband will take care of her. But it's not for the Hefker Nogabah. We wouldn't free her because she doesn't have to get married. Yes. No, it's not. No, it's not a riot. Not going to Yochanan Broka. We're not going if she's chayv and prove, and that's why they freed him. The reason why they freed her is because they were being mazana with her, because she had no husband to take care of her. They were treating her as hefker. They were conducting themselves. The people were acting with her as Hefker. So therefore they wanted to get her husband who will take care of her and watch her. So that's why they did it. Right. And what is it? Right. That's the reason that they forced our owner to free her. And if there wouldn't be any Minik Hefker Nagubah, so then we wouldn't force the master to free her. We're continuing in Mesachis Perek HaShalech, all kinds of tikkun ha'olam, nothing to do with gittin. Amorcha avdo la'ola lagoyim, ola chetz la'aretz. If somebody sells his Evan Kanani to Goyim, if he sells him to another Jew, okay, sell him to another Jew. If he sells Evan Kanani to Goyim, the slave goes free. Or he sold his Eved to a Jew who lives in Chutz La'aretz. Somebody sold his Evan Kanani to a Jew that lives in Lakewood. Yosef and Chorin. The Eved goes free. Why? Like this was Lawrence. Eretz Amen. Yes. Okay, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that was her fault. It could be. We want to save the men. This Michshel. Right, but they are, and it's difficult. They shouldn't be a nuisance. They shouldn't be a nuisance to the men. I think that they should take that into consideration. Even right. Reason that we should take action. Okay, so the case is here the Allah is that if somebody sells his slave to a goy, even in Eretz Yisrael, or to Chutz, even to a Jew, the slave goes free. We don't like the situation that someone should sell his slave to a goy or sell his slave to Chutz, and therefore the slave goes free. Rashi points out that they didn't see the Gemara much yet, but Rashi says that if the slave runs away from the goy or from Chutz, so he's free. He doesn't go back to the first master. Rashi even says that it could be that Bezdin forces him to redeem him. He sold him to a guy, shell out money and redeem him back, and he's going to go free. You're not going to get him back. Yeah? He goes free. And then the question is, who's going to... And the person of Babel is going to say that he's free. Yeah. He's also going to be forced. And then the question is, who's going to lose the money? That's going to be a sugi coming up. Who's going to lose the money? Is it the buyer or the seller? Okay, I didn't see it there, but right. Rashi says at the end, who gets the knas? The buyer or the seller? Okay, so the Gemara continues. That's all the favors. He still needs to get shechur. That's interesting that even though Chazal say that he's going to go free, but he's still, his halachic status is not going to be upgraded until he gets a get shechur from the first Rav. So we tell the first Rav that he has to give him a get shechur. And then if he runs away or if he's redeemed out by money, so that he's going to be free. It doesn't go back to the original owner. It's only my owner, more kasha, my owner. I'm Rav Sheshes, the cost of leihachi. Rashi says owner means a star, which is really giving him a free get shechur. It says that when he's selling him, he gives him a star that says when you're going to run away, if you run away, when you run away, I have nothing to do with you. It means that I'm disowning you, and it's also not only the moment, it's also the get shechur. It's considered a get shechur. A kitzer, he gave him a get shechur right away. If he didn't give him a get shechur, so he has to give him a get shechur when he runs away or when he redeems him back. But if he wrote right away when he was selling him, he gave him already a get shechur that says that I'm out of this picture. That's considered a get shechur right away. Or is like shetibrach, when you run away from him, I have nothing to do with you. That's also considered a kind of a get shechur. I don't know the details. Why is this not anything different than any get shechur? He gave him a get shechur right away. That the owner that he wrote to him the following. Those words. He wrote to him, when you're gonna escape from him, I'm selling you to the guy. When you're gonna escape, I have nothing to do with you. Which means that you're fully, yes. So it's kind of a get shechur. I don't know the details why it's considered a get shechur. When you run away and ain't the asik, okay, that's what it kitzer. He has to get a get shechur, and this is considered a get shechur. Someone borrowed money from a guy, and he says, if I don't pay you, so the evidence is going to be yours. He didn't sell a mamish. It wasn't a straight sale. But if in case I'm not going to have money to pay you, so then he's what? He's collateral. So that's not is that enough reason that I should go free? He goes free when the guy does nimuso. What's nimuso? My nimuso. I'm not going to buy you the nashki. So the Rashi says nashki means some kind of a label that he's the eved, like a necklace, whatever it is, whatever kind of emblem he puts on him to know that he's the eved. So when the guy, the har means when the guy didn't pay back, and now the guy comes to collect his collateral, and he puts on him a thing. Till now we had on himself a necklace. I'm an eved of Yankel, and now he's going to be the eved of John. So when John comes and puts on his necklace, puts the necklace onto the eved that now you're mine, that's when he goes free. Right, what's Nashki? So the Rashi says Nashki is some kind of, where's Rashi? Right, and we don't know what Nashki is. So we look at the Rashi. Rashi says Chosam v'siman avdos sheton lavada b'tzavreim, some kind of a necklace or something, some kind of a emblem for the eved that he is the eved of somebody. A name tag. What do they call this thing? A dog tag or something like that? They call that. So it says the name. Why do they call it a dog tag? Okay, a human tag. Identification. Who is he belongs to? Here the case is to know who's his master. So he has a name tag who he belongs to. So when the guy comes and puts on his name tag, so then he goes free. Not when he signed the collect, gave him the collect, signed that if I don't pay, and even if the due date came, but when the guy puts on this name tag, is that what it means? It says another price someplace. Recent but the Yavos, the Goy, Shemishkin Sodeli as well. Here the case is that the field of Yisrael was taken as a collateral if he doesn't pay the debt to a guy I don't get all the cases over here. I have to come back tomorrow, Bez Hashem. But the point is that is it considered the Jews that it's chayiv in Tumas HaMaasros. It was a field that was let's say simple as a Goyish field that a Jew took as a collateral, and the guy didn't pay, and now it's the Jew's field. It's a chayiv in Tumas HaMaasros. It says it's part of Tumas HaMaasros, even though he did nimuso, whatever nimuso means. But the Gemara just wants to say there's no name tag on the field. I'll come back again for the details. A Sada has a name tag, so it doesn't mean that. It does disprove the translation. That it doesn't mean when the name tag, it means when the time comes. The time means when the time arrives that he didn't pay. He has a loan for a year, and the time when the due date comes, then he didn't pay up, then he's considered the goods. If it's okay, we'll stop over here, even though it's the middle of a few more lines, but I didn't get it, so almost finished. Yeah, I should go on.